So you're not eating scones, are you? It's not very healthy, Dad.
I know, but I call this tea and scones, so I thought I had to sort of turn up.
Tea part.
I had to keep it real, so I've got my cup of tea and I've got my scones. I just want you to know I'm not going to eat all the scones, okay? Or any.
Just like freeze them and bring them out each week.
I will be bringing them out again next week. Anyway, look, welcome everybody today. Welcome everybody today to our tea and scones, our dose of positivity, focus on gratitude, and I just want to make this a great way to start the week. For those who are watching the recording, it'd be great to have you on board when you come. I'd like to introduce Shannon, who was with us last week. Shannon from Toronto. Is that right? The right pronunciation? Right. Toronto in Canada. And whilst it's 10 a.m. in the morning here, actually all the way through the East Coast now, what's your time? Shannon, you're 8 o'clock at night? Or?
It's 8 p.m. on Sunday.
8 p.m. Sunday. Fantastic. And joining us also this week, very pleased to have my beautiful daughter, Angela, on the call this week. And Angela's going to be talking to us about health and the things that she's doing to maintain positivity and so on in regard to her life during these scary times. So let's kick off. What I'd like to do just around the room is talk about positive focus, because I think a great exercise to do every day, we talked about this last week, is to start the day off by 3 or 5 things that have been that you're most grateful for in regard to the positive things, proof of progress that you've made during the week. So they don't have to be things that you've actually finished and achieved and ticked off totally. But what are say 3 things that have happened during the week through either personally or professionally that you're really, really happy about the progress you've made, and it makes you feel really positive about what's coming up ahead. So Shannon, you want to kick off first?
All right, I'd be happy to. So the first one that comes to mind is that there was a lot that happened last week, actually. So most recently on my weekend, I got to spend a fair bit of time outside in nature. And it's spring in Canada, so at least in Ontario. So it's just been really nice to get some more sunshine and to see some nature and see some water. And I went for 2 power walks last week, which was great. So doing a lot of sitting in front of Zoom, which is great. But still, it's just nice to get out and breathe some fresh air and see humans from a distance. Another one is we had quite a really good company meeting on Friday with all of us on Zoom. And it was really touching because I didn't realize how much I had missed people's faces, I would say. So that was a major highlight. And then another one is that Dan and I recorded the first 100 days, which is kind of like after we get the all clear, however long that is now, how are you going to set yourself up for success? And it was just, Dan Sullivan's brain is just amazing. And he's in a level in his life where he's just, some people call it like a level 5 leader. I'd have to remember the whole scale of that. But anyway, he's just really got his act together. So it's really nice having those conversations and pulling that together and sharing that with people. So that was a big highlight.
Yeah, I can't wait to see, Shannon, that procedure that you've gone through. I thought last week was just such a great question. The first 100 days after we get the all clear, how's your life going to change? What's it going to look like, and so on. And it's a great opportunity for all of us to have that thought process to work out, because it gives us the opportunity to design our own future. It's going to be way different to what we've had in the past. So Ange, let's go. Your 3 greatest proofs of progress for the week.
Well, mine are more personal than business. Actually, no, business-wise, last week we finished off the biggest month we've ever had in my business, which was really nice, obviously. Yeah, I was with that because we work with people around health and immunity, and obviously right now there's a lot going on with people and wanting to boost their immune system. And then I also teach people how to create income working from home, and a lot of people in Australia are not able to work right now or do the things that they were doing, or they've been cut back. And so we've been really lucky, and I felt really good celebrating that. We had some champagne. And then I've been wanting to finish off my weekly time manager, which is a tool that I've kind of on and off used for a little while. It's got lots of ugly highlighter on it, but it basically just breaks down my week, because obviously juggling this and the kids can be really challenging because they want a lot of my time. So this just gives me a color-coded look at my week when I'm working, when I'm doing messages and emails, you know, when I'm spending time with kids, when I'm outside, when I'm working out, when I'm exercising. So that was really good. And then number 3 would probably be just being way more active physically. I don't know what it is, but being in lockdown seems to make everyone exercise more. It's great.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, let me go through mine quickly before you start talking about some of your health ideas, Ange. First thing I'm most grateful for this week has been Mum. I mean, apart from the whole family, my mum, who's 90, and she's in lockdown as well. I actually snuck out and from 40 paces, I gave her I bought some oysters for her this week for Sunday. And so we used to always do Sunday lunch. But anyway, I took her some oysters this week. But look, we talk every day, and I make sure I'm keeping up the communication at a high level with Mum. And she and I chat every day, at least once or twice. So I'm really grateful for still having Mum in my life and the fact she's fit, healthy and well. It's interesting. I mean, the communication with my friends has actually gone up, I think, over the last 2 or 3 weeks. The last couple of weeks since this all started. And, you know, it's amazing. I've got so many friends and that are checking in to make sure, because here by myself, and so I self-isolating, and I've got a lot of guys that are checking in all the time to make sure I'm okay. We do the virtual pub on a Friday night, so and we have a lot of laughs with that. So that's been really great. But from a business point of view, look, we've really had to I've had to reinvent my business over the last 2 weeks, and tools like this, Zoom, changing. We're putting all our business processes online onto membership sites and so on, and just understanding that the way of the future is this is the way we're going to have to communicate with people, and it's not such a bad thing. There's lots of positives in doing it this way, certainly time, travel cost and all those sorts of things. So I've had to redo that, but I just found there's so many capabilities, there's so many IT type capabilities that can help us to achieve what we want to achieve with our clients and still keep that connection with them. So I'm really grateful for that, and they're probably my 3 for the week. So, Ange,
cool.
And look, the reason we've done this around the room is that doing a positive focus every day is just the best way to start your day, because what it does, it gives you a whole sense of confidence. Even just reading that out and talking about it, I just feel really good about what's happening. And it's very hard to be negative when you're talking about positive things that are happening in your life. So I guess a tip, and Shannon, we've been doing this in Strategic Coach for 100 years, a tip is start your day off by doing a positive focus. Just sit down there and think to yourself, okay, where have I made progress during the week? And just make that a daily habit. Make that one of your habits that you start off this way. And you this is probably the first time we've chatted about this. How did you find it going through and making yourself think about that?
Look, I think for me, it was easy. It was a nice thing to do. I like feeling good. It's one of my favorite things to do is anything that makes me feel good. And I feel like starting the day with gratitude, why wouldn't you? It's free. It's easy. You don't have to put too much time or effort into it, really. It's like, why wouldn't everyone do it, in my opinion?
Yep. Yeah, great point. Now, look, you've been talking about some of the ways you've been really focusing on your health during this lockdown. So do you want to share some of those things with people who are listening and watching?
Yes, the people who are listening and watching.
And watching. They're watching you. I
think the biggest tip I would have around that is always setting yourself up for success by scheduling. I think that so many people have gone into this lockdown and kind of like, I've got all this free time and I've got all this big to-do list and I want to do all these things, but they don't schedule anything or they don't plan what they really want to do. Or they have their list and they're like, I'll get to it. And then, by the time you hit a certain period in the day, I've just gotten back into following something called the Tea cycle, which is a little bit hippy-dippy, but basically Chi is life force energy that runs through our body, and it runs through our body at different times, different organs during different times of the day. And the thing that I really love about it is it explains why at different times of the day you feel different ways, or in the morning you feel more energized, and at certain times of the day you feel more creative, and at certain times of the day you feel like you just want to do the easy things in your business. And so I think my biggest thing that has helped throughout this time is scheduling my day and following that schedule so that I'm doing the work where I'm at my most kind of get it done energy in the morning between about 9 a.m. and about 1. I know that between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m., that's when you're very much in your heart, and it's a really good time to have conversations with people, connect with people. You know, if you need to have a work conversation or if you want to check in on someone, that's a good time to do that. I know that there are good times of the day to eat because that life force energy is in your stomach, or it's in your intestine, or it's in parts of your body where it's going to help you to digest easier. But mostly, you know, outside of the hippie side of it, I think it's just good for people to say, okay, this is the time where I exercise. This is the time where I create. This is the time where I connect. This is the time where I do social media, or the easier kind of things. And I think that if you constantly know this is what's coming next, and because my kids are so full on, Dad, as you would know, it's good for them as well. Like we always talk about, it's good for kids to have a structure, but it's got so much benefit for adults to have structure too, because otherwise you're just kind of hoping that you're going to do things, and it doesn't always work out that way. So around that, health, yes. Eating at certain times of the day. I think even creating like a lunch box for yourself, if you're the kind of person who's just going to keep going to the fridge and picking at things, and having a bit more.
Now, there's a thought.
Why not? Like I thought about doing it for the kids, but they've been pretty good with their eating times when I'm on top of it. But, you know, they go to school every day with a lunchbox, and it's like, this is the food you're eating for the day. And if you're an adult and you've got that habit of, I'm just going to go to the fridge, and I used to procrastinate when I would want to distract myself from doing work. I'd go to the kitchen and my procrastination would be eating. So I would procrastinate. And it's like, if you can kind of just give yourself like, okay, kind of like a schedule, like, no, this is just what you're eating today. Here's your snacks and your lunch and your afternoon tea. And then obviously breakfast and dinner is just what you eat. It stops you from having so many choices, because I know that when we have too many choices, we end up kind of exhausting ourselves, and then we get to a point where we just don't want to make them anymore, and all those choices are going to, what am I eating? Should I work out or shouldn't I? What am I wearing today? Instead of the big things like the choices that we need to make within our business. So I think if we that's so cool.
Not every Zoom meeting can have someone just sailing past off the 19th floor.
Totally.
Wearing a mask, no doubt.
I was going to say, Dad, is he 2 arms lengths away from you? I hope so.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, very much.
The whole balcony out there.
Yeah, true. But no, that's me. I think being really organised around what you're doing, what you're eating, taking away all the decisions from your day that you don't need to have is a big thing for me. If I know that every morning I'm having a green smoothie at a certain time of day, then I don't have to think about it, and I can utilize that brain power to make choices in my business that I need to make.
Yeah, and I guess sorry, Shannon, you go.
Well, there's a book that completely supports everything you just said by Ben Hardy called Willpower Doesn't Work. And it's relatively new, and it basically says just what you said, Ange, that people have a limited amount of willpower, and at the end of the day, should I exercise or shouldn't I? Probably if you've been making decisions and been being willful, you have run out of that type of energy. And so the more you kind of just structure things, he's got a great thing about your environment, that it's just, there's way less room to get into trouble. And so it's completely aligned with what you just talked about. Willpower doesn't work. Ben Hardy.
Willpower doesn't work, Ben Hardy. Mm-hmm. Now, Angela, I know you have to go. Is that right?
I've got 2 minutes. Any final words?
Final question is, so tell me about the products and so on that you're promoting. They must be going through the roof at the moment, because people are really focused on being healthy and being immune. Even mum, my 90-year-old mum has started taking your supplements. So has that become a real breakthrough at the moment for you and your business?
Yeah, like I said, last month we had more customers than we've ever had. Our product is it actually is the most researched nutraceutical supplement on the planet. There's never been a product with as much science behind it. And it's not backyard science. It's medical journal published studies, gold standard double-blind placebo testing, and it's proven to improve the immune system and also reduce systemic inflammation in the body. So obviously with everything going on right now, people are finally valuing their health in a way that they didn't before. And so the great thing is when we have a product that is actually going to boost people's immune system and also make them feel better, look better, perform better, and it's made from fruits and vegetables. So it's not a synthetic, it's something that your body completely recognizes. And I think that a lot of people understand that food can be medicine if used the correct way. And so we have a product that is medicine for your body in a way that it can take it in, but is also proven to do something. So yeah, if anyone wants to know more, message Dad and he can get you onto me.
Okay. No, good. Oh, no, they'll find you on Instagram under the Gratitude Project.
All right, Dad, I'm going to go.
Thanks,
Have fun, guys. I'll watch the recording back. Nice to meet you. Bye, Shannon. Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Okay, well, that was lovely having Ange on and talking about all those things. And yes, I've heard about that book, Willpower Doesn't Work, by Benjamin Hardy. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't. And that's where everyone falls apart. So I'm going to be strong. I'm going to have willpower. I'm going to do this. It's
a limited amount we have.
That's right. So it's a matter of setting up your house to take away all those opportunities to fail, really, isn't it? And so setting up your life. So last week we talked about, Shannon, having the positive focus every morning. We talked about the big rocks at the end of the day and to prepare for the following day. So not only having the positive focus in the morning, but just focusing on 3 things every day to achieve, because we all get, and some people are worse at lists than others, or more engaged in lists than others. And I think what's very, people can find very negative and very diminishing of their energy is having a big list and looking at it each day and going, wow, I've only done 2, 3, 4 things on that list, and I've still got another 20 to go. Do you have a way, Shannon, to help really just focus on the important things? What do you use to really do that?
Well, we have a concept in Coach called your 3 crucial results. And that really ties into our wins for the day. You want to track your three biggest wins. And by the way, if you've got more, go nuts. I don't think there's any problem with having, more than that. But you want to focus on what do you want your 3 wins to be for the day. And this is actually how Dan Sullivan organizes himself. So he holds himself accountable to 3 things that he really wants to make sure get done at a very high level, which is, I think, an interesting way of looking at it. He's looking at a smaller quantity, but a higher quality of productivity than I think a lot of people who are just focused on getting their laundry list of activities done, and then they're racing through them and doing an adequate job. I know I've gotten to the bottom of my long list sometimes. I'm like, it's good enough for now, because that's all I gave it time for. Then really just focusing on the top 3 things that are going to move our business ahead, my family ahead, myself ahead, whatever it is I'm focusing on. So I think really focusing in on 3, when you ask yourself, what are the 3 most important things for me to accomplish today? It's a different answer than what are the top 30. And so really making sure you do a great job of those. Now, are you likely to get more than that done? Probably. And there'll be some great byproducts that happen and other things that you just do. But holding yourself accountable to the 3 means you'll do a fabulous job on those. And then as long as they're doable in that actual work time that you've set yourself, if it's a work to-dos. And then if you get extra things, they're bonus points, which I think is setting yourself up to win rather than setting yourself up to fail is something that's really, really important. And part of our, what we call staying out of the gap of the ideal, and really focusing on progress, not perfection, as we talked about last week. So it's a mindset, but it also works. I mean, if you think about how many work days you have in a year and you get 3 really important things done every single day, you're going to have an incredible year. So when you think about quality, not just quantity, it changes the whole game.
But even from a personal point of view too, even when you're having free days, I mean, you can still use the free days, 24 hours, midnight to midnight, nothing to do with work whatsoever. That was one of the first things I learned 20 odd years ago as strategic coach. But even when you're having those sort of days, it's important to go, okay, what are the 3 things that I really want to accomplish today? And it might be going to the beach, it might be catching up with friends, all this stuff, nothing to do with work, But instead of getting to the end of a free day and going, gee, I didn't do anything really substantial today, set yourself up to have 3 really big rocks that you're going to achieve. And at the end of the day, you go, wow, wasn't that great catching up with those people? I feel so revived going. And, of course, the ocean's just out there. So, don't I feel so revived going for a swim in the ocean and catching up with friends and maybe catching up with the grandkids and whatever, which I can't do at the minute, but that'll be high on the first 100 days after this all finishes.
Yeah,
so it's just as important in work days as it is in your free days, your personal days, to just set yourself up for 3 things a day. And it's much easier, isn't it, to if you focus on them, and they're the big rocks, you actually 99 times out of 100, you get them done or you make some huge progress on them. And the important thing to remember too, Shannon, and you'll know this, is if you've got a list of 30 or if you've got a list of 100 things, and the same things just keep showing up on that list and you never get to them, you've got to ask yourself, 1, are they important, or 2, are you the right person to do them? And that's where the opportunity is to as you well know, is to delegate those, if you can, to other people to get them done. Either that or they're just that you may as well forget about them. But the whole point of doing this each week for these weeks is to help people start off in a positive way with their week, to be grateful for what we do have, not be focusing on what we don't have, is to have gratitude for what we do have, but also is to look at things, I guess, in the right light and to set yourself up each day. And I love the way you say that, Shannon, is you've got to find ways to set yourself up for success, not to allow yourself to go, oh, wow. And for example, one of those obviously is just stop watching the news so much. I think is obviously a great way to start the day. Here we go again. This is just becoming a highlight of our
I like him.
Zoom session today. We've got these 2 ropes outside my window. They're doing the painting.
Can you come to my house? Can you come to my house, please?
Yeah, that's right. Well, they're doing all the repairs on the building and the painting and all that sort of stuff, and occasionally they go past. So got to be watching what you do in here. But look, one of the other things is Peter Diamandis, and we can I can post with the post. I might give some of these links as well. Peter put up a good article today too, didn't he, Shannon? In regard to what we're going through.
Well, and talk about that, because I think, we are all having to refocus on new things. And I know one of the struggles for me right now is, because I'm someone who has kind of 2 main focuses in life, work and family, and they kind of, bounce back and forth for what has precedence. And I'm realizing, especially since I'm landlocked and I'm used to being on a plane a fair bit, I need some more hobbies. And and I think that's one of the things that Peter talked about. So I'm, when you were telling me about his list, because I've tried to stay off some social media today, and it's like that's one of the things to develop. How can we develop ourselves in this very different environment, even though it's our homes? There's a different way of being, and how we develop ourselves and grow ourselves. Probably haven't spent this much time with ourselves for quite some time. So he's got some really powerful suggestions. And Peter's such a phenomenal thinker and connector. And if anyone, he's the author of Abundance and author of Bold. And he's got a newest one out too, which I can't remember the title of. Oh, The Future is Closer Than You Think.
That's right.
But it's amazing, his just view of what's possible. And if you're having a bad day, pick up one of Peter's books. It's incredible. So what was on his list again? Because I hadn't read it as thoroughly as you did.
No, it's only because I've printed it out and I've got it here. I can cheat. No, the article, the blog is all about 3 reasons why I'm hopeful, even optimistic. And he says the first one is the human race has never before faced a singular enemy, and the way the whole planet is working together to resolve the issue is, dare I use the word, unprecedented. Second thing is it could have been worse. I think the way most governments have handled this, it's flattened the curve, whatever you want to call it. It could have been way worse, and as bad as it is, remember, it could have been worse. And the third thing is there's compelling opportunities ahead. And look, out of any disaster such as this, I mean, while we're going through this, and I mean, that's not in any way discounting people are dying and so on, and the grief and the cost of that. But I mean, once we get through this, and it is a pandemic, once we get through it, I mean, there's going to be huge opportunities ahead for the people that think positively about the future and work out what their future is likely to be. And that's why I got so excited about, the question you and Dan are going through at the moment about what's the first 100 days after the end of this? What are you going to do? What's it going to look like? How can you set yourself up to get the best possible results? He also goes on to talk about the things you can do right now, let's say as an entrepreneur and as an individual, the first thing is, from a business point of view, reinvent your business. And that's taking advantage of all the technology that's available at the moment. And I use that in my positive focus. I mean, things such as Zoom. Now we can have an intelligent conversation like this. We can record it. We can put it up on Facebook or wherever we want to put it. And people hopefully will get the advantage of being able to watch this. And I mean, there you are in Toronto. Here I am on the Gold Coast in Australia. And we're just chatting like it was yesterday when you were over here in Australia and having your holiday. So reinvent your business, digitize everything, and try and turn everything in your business into maximize the use of videos, recordings, to be able to store your wisdom so that people can see it when it's convenient for them, not when it's convenient for you or for me. In other words, create it, put the wisdom out there and allow people to watch it on their terms. Is one of the first things I think is very important to do. Create your membership sites so people that are your clients, your customers, your key people can be part of a community of other people who want to achieve the same sorts of things, the same sorts of outcome, and help them work together. So maybe there's going to be a lot more working in groups than maybe the individual one-on-ones that certainly I'm used to in the past. In my business, it's all about me meeting a person, a family, and just dealing with that person one-on-one. I think the opportunity in the future using technology is being able to help 10, 20, 30 people all at once rather than just doing it one-on-one. And certainly platforms like Zoom and all these sorts of technologies are things you need to focus on, take advantage of. The second thing is create new habits and traditions. So when he goes through a list here, and this is just all good stuff as Angela was talking about. Sleep, exercise every day, meditation, get your diet right. And I'm going to tell you, staying in an apartment on the 19th floor, it's hard to be eating well at the moment when you don't have a plan. And I'm thinking about what Ange said, and that sounds like a good idea. Family traditions, and quit smoking if you smoke. That's his final one. But for example, use technology. There's a Johnson & Johnson have a 7-minute workout app on the iPhone, which is just a classic. It's fantastic. You set it up. It tells you, it'll show you a picture of what exercise to do, and it just takes 7 minutes. And if you do that every day, there you go. There's your exercise for the day taken care of. So there's a whole lot of things that we can do, and we can change our habits. So instead of me going for a walk, for an hour, I can use an app which will talk me through and encourage me to do an exercise pattern. The final thing is learn new things. And Shannon, you were talking about this before, and this is more from a personal point of view. But you said, we're going to have a whole lot more time on our own and by ourselves. So you can't just work 24 hours a day. You've still got to be an interesting person when we come out the other end of this. You can't be dull and boring. You've got to find some new habits and some opportunities. And so, read books, learn a musical instrument maybe, or painting or something like that. Go online and do some of the online courses. There's Mind Valley and places like that which just have phenomenal resources for you in regard to thinking positively, in regard to meditation. Learn to meditate better, and so on. And I think that's our greatest opportunity is use this time not to be bored, but to learn new things. So and finally he says, mindset is everything. And that, right. Shannon's really why we're doing this, isn't it? Is to help people get their mindset right. So because, if you sit there and you watch the news every day, which I now just about turn the TV off fully, hard to watch Blacklist. If you turn the news off, straight away you're going to get an injection of positivity into your mindset. If you watch news all the time and you're focusing on the bad stuff, it's just not good for your mindset. So find a whole lot of new things that excite you and take you out of your comfort zone, new habits and opportunities, and get your mindset right. So that's it's a great article. Really,
I love that, and it makes me feel good because I was kind of thinking about that, and I signed up for a piano course on Udemy, Udemy.
Yep.
It was majorly discounted. I'm like, perfect. This is a hobby. I've had a keyboard for 12 years, maybe longer.
You actually have a keyboard.
I have a keyboard. Oh, I asked for it for Christmas or my birthday one year, more than a decade ago.
And you still haven't used it.
It now might be the time. It's been lent out and it's been used by other people, but not by me. But it's great. So I'm actually like, this is something half an hour a day. If I could, I could get adequate, in a couple weeks, probably play at least one song. I'll keep you posted. But it felt good to actually take the time to figure out how to do something like that, because, if you're working and traveling and family, there's not a whole lot of time left. So I'm a reader, so that's a given for me. But now there might be if it fails miserably, I'll switch gears. But I'll keep you posted.
Well, what works, what doesn't work. So
there you go.
you'll be able to use that one. Maybe you can delegate that to one of your children to.
That'd be good. Yeah, maybe I'll do. If I don't like
so you'll still get the pleasure of it, but you don't have to do it yourself. That's fine. But look, time's up today, Shannon. It's been fantastic. I love these conversations we have. We really, you come from a really great place, and you've got a great resource there that you make available to the world. I'll put up the post in regard to the resources at Strategic Coach for the scary times, which are really, really valuable. There's a ton of resources there, which will really keep you on top of your game, positive and constructive. Please, whatever happens, make sure you let me know as soon as the exercise in regard to the first 100 days.
Well.
After all this comes up, Shannon said she and Dan Sullivan have been recording that this week or last week, so I'm really, really looking forward to seeing that. But basically, I guess, look, today, tea and scones, the scones are sitting there. They're going to have to go in the bin because Angela said I'm not allowed to eat these scones anymore.
One bite.
Maybe I'll just have a bite of each one. They're so beautiful with the cream and the jam. Anyway, I'll have to do exercise twice today. Anyway, look, a great positive way to start off the week. Thanks, Shannon. And tomorrow morning, I know at your time it's Monday for you tomorrow morning. So enjoy your week over there. I wish you all good things and just have a great time and stay safe.
Thank
Cheers
you,
to everybody.
Great to connect with you. Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.
Yes, buddy. Bye.